Hello there and welcome to a brand new video. This is How Beyond Numbers, where we learn maths the easy way. Now, in our previous lesson, we learned how or what integers are and how they help us represent values above, below, and then on zero. Today, we are looking at how to compare integers to see which one is larger or smaller. After which, we'll learn how to order a set of integers from the greatest to the smallest or the smallest to the biggest. Take your notes. Let's continue our learning journey on the number line. So we can't compare numbers and then ignore the number line. You see, so let's quickly do a recap on the number line. Now, numbers on the right are always greater. So if you have two numbers, let's just pick any two numbers. This number line we see here is just within the range of what? -8 and then +8. So we'll try our best to understand it and also apply it to other ranges as well. So if I take two numbers on my number line, in this case, I'm taking -4 and then 6. Look at where our 0 is. So we always, okay, so let's just look at where our 0 is. Now, we said the number to the right are always greater than the number to the left. You see that this number 6 is to the right, whilst the -4 is to the left. You see, just by that, you can tell that what 6 is greater than -4. Secondly, the numbers to the left are always smaller. So you can take any two numbers on the left. This is 2 and then 4. These two numbers, you see, 2 is to the left. Hence, we can easily say 2 is less than 4. You get it? So just by using the number lines, you can look at numbers and then quickly be able to tell which is greater and which is smaller. With that said, if we want to compare numbers in general, there are some symbols we use. The first among these symbols is this we have over here. That is, it is greater than. Greater than. So you would see that for this symbol, there are two faces. We have the open face here and then the closed face here. You see. So if I write A and then I put my symbol here and I put my B, the open face would always face the one that is big. Hence, I can read this as A is greater than B because the open face is facing A, whereas the pointed face is facing what? B. So A is what? Greater than B. The next symbol we have to take note of is what? The less than. Now this is the less than symbol over here. So the pointed face faces the smaller number. So that if I write A is less than B, it means the value of A is smaller and B is what? Bigger. Now the last one is equal sign, which we know from our elementary classes. So A is equal to B, means the value of A is the same as the value of B. And let's compare the following. So we have the number 5 and then 3. Which is greater? So as we have said, if you always have your integer, your number line, you can always come here and then do your comparison. And let's look at another example here. We have -4 and then 0. What symbol do we need to put there? You might think that 0 means nothing and then it is not even big, but in integer, 0 is bigger than all the numbers you can think of on the left side. You see, so we have 0 here and we have -4 over here. We always say that the number to the right is bigger than the number to the left. You get it? So if we come here, then it simply means that -4 is less than 0. The closed portion is facing what? The -4, to show that it is what? It is less than. Right? That is it. So you can try these two on your own. we have -8 and -3, and then you also have 0 and then 4. With this done, let's then look at how we can order these integers. Now, when it comes to ordering integers, all we want to do is, you have a set of integers and you want to what? Arrange them either in ascending or descending order. Now, take note of the following. When you want to order a positive versus a negative, now always take note that any positive integer at all is always greater than any negative integer. I would like you to write that any positive integer is greater than any negative integer. That is one. Then your second point, if you are ordering positive and then 0, the same way any positive integer is always greater than 0. Any positive integer is greater than 0. Now, when you want to compare a negative integer and 0, 0 is also always greater than any negative integer. Now, if you are comparing two positive integers, then the larger number is always the one on the right. That I do hope you already know how to compare two positive integers. If you are comparing two negative integers, that is when you use the number line. You could use absolute values to determine, but since we have not looked at that yet, just refer the numbers to the number line. The one to the right is always what? The greater one. The one to the right is always the greater one. Or if you want, so let's say you have -3 and then -4. Assume the negative number wasn't there. So that is a 3 and then 4. So for this, you would always say the smaller one then becomes what? The bigger value. That is for negative numbers. So my smaller one will become what? The one that is big. You get it? Assuming the negatives was not there. If you can't use this, just go to the number line. And then you look at the one that is at the right hand side, comparing the two numbers, just as you've done. So let's order some set of integers here. So it says order the following in ascending order. Ascending order simply means what? The smallest to the biggest. And as we have said, the negative numbers are always the smallest. So let's take note of the negative. So you have -4 and then -7. I said earlier on that if you want to compare them, we can use the number line. So if we take our number line and then we look for where -4 is and compare it to where -7 is, then this is where we have our -4 and then our -7 is here. The one on the right hand side, the -4, is the biggest. Hence, this here is the smallest. You get it? So we come back here and then say the smallest among this is our -7. So since there are just two negative numbers, then -7 is less than what? -4. You see, then with that, we are left with what? Our 0. And we said 0 or any positive number is greater than 0. So our next one will be 0. And now that 0 is gone, we have 2 and 3, which we already know how to compare. So 0 is also less than 2, which is also less than 3. So this is our arrangement in what? Ascending order. You see, ascending order. That is from the smallest to the biggest. So let's look at our second example here, which might probably be our last. It says order the following in descending order. We are ordering it in descending order. When we talk of descending order, then we mean from the what? From the biggest to the smallest. From the biggest to the smallest. And looking at all the integers we have here, we know for sure that the biggest integers are the positives. So we can consider 1 and 6 to start with. For 1 and 6, we know that 6 is always the biggest. Okay, so 6 is bigger, so it is greater than 1. Then after 1, the rest are all negatives. So for the negative numbers, we said those on the right hand side are always what? The greatest. Or you'd assume their negatives weren't there. You see, if you were to assume their negatives were not there, then the smallest is the biggest. So what do I mean by the smallest is the biggest? 2 here, which is a overall of -2, is then bigger than -5, which is also greater than what? -8. So 6 is greater than 1, which is greater than -2, which is greater than -5, which is also greater than -8. So this here becomes our ordering in what? Descending order. So this is how far this video is going to get. I do hope it was helpful. And as you always know, I won't leave without giving a try work. So kindly try this to test your understanding. So here are 4 exercises you can try to test your understanding. The first one, it involves a word problem. So you have to read and understand. It says the temperature recorded in 4 different days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday were -2, -2, 3, -5, and 1. And you have to arrange from the coldest day to the warmest day. Know that the most negative is always the coldest, and it goes in that order. Then this you have to determine if the following statements are either true or false. Then you have the third one here, and then this is your fourth one. I do hope this lesson was helpful. This is how Beyond Numbers, where we learn maths the easy way. See you in our next lesson. Bye.